bus at 7:30 in the morning, my brain immediately shuts down. I put on my noise-canceling headphones, I bury my face in a book, and I just want the world to disappear.
Well, we are transitioning here from the etiquette of interaction to the sociology of avoidance.
Sociology of avoidance, I like that.
To understand the mechanics of what you were doing with those headphones, we can look at the work of Irving Goffman, a highly influential sociologist. He introduced a concept known as non-person treatment.
Non-person treatment, that sounds incredibly severe.
It is a severe term for a very specific level of social interaction. It refers to a dynamic where one person deliberately does not acknowledge the physical presence of another person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they act, ritually and socially speaking, as if the other human being is simply a piece of furniture.
Okay, let me test that against my own experience.
Okay.
Because I definitely ignore people on the bus, but I wouldn't say I treat them like furniture. I mean, I'm just minding my own business. How does Goffman differentiate this from just giving someone their personal space?
That's a great question. Goffman outlines different tiers of engagement. The highest tier is the encounter, which is explicit engagement, like Michael and Anna talking about Japan.
Right.
Below that is civil inattention. This is the default mode of public life. It's that subtle, implicit acknowledgement.
Like when you make brief eye contact with someone as you board the bus, you give a tight-lipped nod, and then you immediately look away.
Exactly. You are communicating, I see you, I acknowledge your right to exist in this space, but I'm not going to intrude on you.
The tight-lipped nod is the universal currency of the commute. I use it every single day.
We all do. But non-person treatment is something altogether different. It strips away even that basic, fleeting acknowledgement of humanity. Goffman points out that historically, society has actively subjected specific groups to this treatment as a tool to diminish their social status.
Like who?
Well, he lists servants, panhandlers, and mental patients as historical examples of people who were talked about to their faces as if they weren't there.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. And our sources note this dynamic is still applied in modern hierarchies, too, like to contingent or adjunct faculty in higher education or freelance musicians in an orchestra as a way to quietly signal that they lack status and don't require acknowledgement.
Okay, I have to push back here. Because when I put up my shield, when I put my headphones on and stare at my phone, I am not trying to strip away the social dignity of the person sitting next to me.
Right, right.
I'm just exhausted. The sensory input of 50 different perfumes, conversations, and ringtones is just too much. So is putting up a shield really a malicious act of non-person treatment, or is it just a psychological survival mechanism in a crowded city?
You've hit on the exact evolutionary mechanism at play. The human brain is simply not built to process the emotional and social data of 50 distinct human souls at 7 in the morning.
Right, it's too much.
The cognitive load is entirely overwhelming. The academic study in our sources about public transportation focuses heavily on this concept of shields. Passengers use books, computers, and primarily cell phones to intentionally block interaction. You aren't doing it out of malice. You are using technology to simulate the non-person treatment to protect yourself.
Wow, simulate it.
Yeah, because you cannot build a physical wall around yourself on a crowded bus. You build an artificial cognitive barrier. You are unilaterally opting out of the social contract of that space.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We assume we're the ones making the choice to put up these invisible walls.
Yeah.
But how much of this behavior is actually dictated by the physical and cultural environment we are commuting in?
A lot more than you'd think.
Right, because our sources include a rigorous academic participant observation study comparing the transit systems of London and Copenhagen.
And the methodology of that study is key to understanding the results. The researchers acted as marginal participants.
Marginal participant.
Yeah, that means they rode the transit systems as passive passengers, blending entirely into the environment so they didn't alter the organic behavior they were trying to observe.
So they were basically professional lurkers, just taking notes on how everyone else was acting.
Exactly.
And what they found in London was fascinating. The environment is heavily dictated by an organization called Passenger Focus, which is a British government corporation. Their entire mandate seems built around safety, rules, and vigilance.
Right. There's no smoking, no drinking, and there are security cameras absolutely everywhere.
Everywhere. The researchers were actually given specific cultural advice to blend in. They were told, do not smile at fellow passengers and keep conversations low or completely non-existent.
Because smiling at a stranger on the London Underground is often interpreted not as friendliness, but as a potential threat or a breach of protocol.
But the physical engineering of this space is what really blew my mind. The London Underground is incredibly deep. Like,
Yeah.
it's so far underground that there is absolutely no cell signal.
Which fundamentally changes the psychological landscape, because your primary digital shield is suddenly useless.
You can't scroll through a feed. You can't simulate being somewhere else. And to make it more intense, the seats in the underground are parallel, facing each other. So you are sitting in a screeching metal tube with no cell service, physically forced to face a row of strangers mere feet away from you.
Talk about high cognitive load.
Yeah. No wonder the cultural rule is don't make eye contact. If you don't have a phone to look at, you have to engage in extreme gaze management just to survive the ride.
Right, you're just staring at the floor or the ads above their heads.
Exactly. And then when you get on the iconic double-decker buses in London, the seats are forward-facing, like in a car. It physically limits your field of vision to the back of the head of the person sitting directly in front of you.
See, the architecture forces you to actively manage your physical body to maintain privacy because